I've called you together, gentlemen, to receive a very unpleasant piece of news. There's an Inspector General coming.
What, a revisor?
Yes, an inspector from Petersburg, Incognito, with secret instructions too.
Well, I declare.
We've escaped hitherto, so now it's our turn.
Good lord, with secret instructions.
I had a sort of presentiment of it. All last night I dreamt about a pair of monstrous rats. Upon my word, I never saw the like of them, so black and enormous. They came and snuffed about and vanished. Here's a letter which I will read you from Andrei Ivanovich Chmikov. You know him, Artemy Filipovich. This is what he says. My dear friend, my comrade and benefactor. He mutters over quickly the first few sentences. And to let you know... that's it. I hasten to let you know, amongst other things, that an official has been sent with instructions to inspect the whole province, and your district especially, lifts his finger significantly. That he is coming I know from very reliable sources, but he pretends to be a private person. So as you have your little faults, you know, like everybody else, you're a sensible man and don't let your little perquisites slip through your fingers. Stopping. That's after a manner of speaking. I advise you to take precautions, for he may come any hour if he has not already done so and is staying somewhere incognito. Yesterday. Oh, then, come family matters. My cousin Anna Kirillovna paid us a visit with her husband. Ivan Kirillovich has got very fat and is always playing the fiddle, etc., etc. Now here's a pretty business.
Yes, extraordinary, simply extraordinary. There must be some reason for it.
But why, Anton Antonovich? Why is it? Why should we have an inspector?
Oh, it's fate, I suppose. Sighs. Till now, thank goodness, they've pried into other towns, but now our time has come.
It's my opinion, Anton Antonovich, that it's a deep political move. And it means, let me see that, Russia. Yes, that's it. Russia wants to make war, and the government has surreptitiously sent an official to see if there's any disaffection anywhere.
Ah, you've got it. You know a thing or two. The idea of treason in an inland town, as if it lay on the frontier. Why, from here you may gallop for 3 years before you reach a foreign country.
No, I'll tell you how it is. You don't understand. The government looks very closely into matters. It may be far away, yet it observes everything.
It may or it may not. Anyhow, gentlemen, I have warned you. I have made some arrangements on my own behalf, and I advise you to do the same. You especially, Artemy Filipovich. Without doubt, this chinovnik will want first of all to inspect your hospital, and so you had better see that everything is in order, that the nightcaps are clean, and that the sick persons don't go about as they usually do, looking like blacksmiths.
Oh, that's all right. They shall have clean nightcaps if you like.
And you might write up over each bed, in Latin or some other lingo. That's your business, Christian Ivanovich. The name of each complaint, when the patient got ill, the day of the week and month. And I don't like your invalids smoking such strong tobacco. It makes you choke when you come in. It would be better too if there weren't so many of them, otherwise it will be at once ascribed to bad supervision or unskillful doctoring.
Oh, Christian Ivanovich and I have settled all about the doctoring. The nearer we get to nature, the better. We don't go in for costly medicines. A man is a simple affair. If he dies, he dies. If he gets well, why, then he gets well. And it wouldn't be easy for the sick people and Christian to understand one another. He doesn't know a word of Russian.
Also, I would recommend you, Amos Fyodorovich, to the judge, to turn your attention to the courthouse buildings. There's the antechamber, where the petitioners usually wait. You've let the attendants breed geese there, and the goslings go poking their beaks amongst people's legs. Of course, rearing geese is a laudable object, and there's no reason why an usher should not do so. Only you see, the county court is not exactly the place for it. I intended to mention it before, but it somehow quite escaped my memory.
Well, I'll tell them to take 'em all into the kitchen today. Will you come to dinner?
Besides that, it doesn't do for the court chamber to get so full of rubbish of all sorts. Why, there was a sporting whip lying among the papers on your very desk. I know you're fond of sport, but there is a proper time and place for everything. When the inspector is gone, you can put it back again. Then your assessor. He's certainly a learned man, but he reeks of spirits as if he had just come out of a distillery. That also is undesirable. I meant to tell you of this some while ago, but something or other put it out of my head. There are ways of remedying it, if it is really, as he says, a natural failing. You can recommend him to eat onions or garlic or something of the sort. Christian Ivanovich can help him there with some of his nostrums.
No, it's quite impossible to get rid of it. He says his nurse knocked him down when he was a child, and ever since he has smelt of vodka.
Well, I just reminded you of it. As regards the local administration and what Andrei Ivanovich is pleased to call one's little faults in his letter, I don't understand what he means. Why, of course, there isn't a man living who has not some peccadilloes to account for. Heaven made him so. Let free thinkers say what they like.
What do you mean by peccadilloes, Anton Antonovich? There are peccadilloes and peccadilloes. I tell everyone plainly that I take bribes. But what kind of bribes? Why, greyhound puppies. That's a totally different matter.
Whether they're puppies or anything else, they're all bribes alike.
No, indeed, Anton Antonovich. But suppose, for example, one receives a cloak worth 500 roubles, or your good lady receives a shawl.
Yes, but what has that got to do with your being bribed with puppy greyhounds? Besides, you're an atheist. You never go to church, while I at least am a firm believer and attend service every Sunday. Whereas you, oh, I know you. When I hear you talking about the creation, my hair simply stands on end.
What of that? I have reasoned it all out with my own unaided intellect.
Anyhow, too much knowledge is worse than none at all. However, I only made a remark about the county court, and I dare say nobody will ever look at it. There's an odour of sanctity about the place. But you, Luka Lukic, as director of educational establishments, ought to have an eye on the teachers. They're very clever people, no doubt, and are blessed with a college education. But they have very funny habits, inseparable from their profession, I suppose. One of them, for instance, the fat-faced man, I forget his name, can't get along without screwing up his fizz like this when he's got into his chair. And then he sets to work clawing his necktie and scratching his chin. It doesn't matter, of course, if he makes a face at a pupil. Perhaps it's even necessary. I'm no judge of that, but you yourselves will admit that if he grimaces at a visitor, it may leave a very bad impression. The Honourable Inspector, or anyone else, might take it as meant for himself, and then the deuce knows what might come of it.
What can I do with him, I ask. I have told him of it time after time. Only the other day, when our headmaster came into class, your friend made such a face at him as I had never seen before. I dare say it was with the best intentions. But people come complaining to me about radical notions being instilled into the juvenile mind.
And then you should look to the master of the history class. He has a learned head, that is evident, and has picked up any amount of knowledge, but he lectures with such ardour that he quite forgets himself. I once listened to him. As long as he was holding forth about the Assyrians and Babylonians, it was all right. But when he got on Alexander of Macedon, I can't describe his behaviour. Good heavens, I thought, there's a fire. He jumped out of his chair and smashed a stool on the ground with all his might. Alexander of Macedon was a hero, we all know, but that's no reason for breaking the furniture. Besides, the state has to pay for the damages.
Yes, he is fiery. I have spoken to him about it several times. He only says, "As you please." But in the cause of learning, I will even sacrifice my life.
Yes, it's a mysterious law of fate. Your clever man is either a drunkard, or he makes such frightful grimaces that you have to carry out the saints.
Ah, heaven save us from being schoolmasters. You're afraid of everything. Everybody meddles with you, and wants to show you that he's as learned as you are.
Oh, all that's nothing. It's this cursed Incognito. All of a sudden he'll look in. Ah, so you're here, my friends, and who's the judge here, he'll say. Liapkin Tiapkin? Well, bring Liapkin Tiapkin here then. And who is the charity commissioner, Zemlyanfka? Call Zemlyanfka too, there'll be a pretty kettle of fish.